Top 10 misconceptions about our solar system. Do you think you know what's what about our solar system? My name is HumbleBee and you're watching Astrum. We're going to count down the top 10 misconceptions about our solar system. Let's see if you believed any of these before watching this. 10. The sun is a burning ball of fire. The sun is glowing, not burning like a fire. The sun glows because its temperature is about 5,500 degrees Celsius. This heat is not produced by burning, a chemical reaction, but rather by fusion, a nuclear reaction. This nuclear fusion takes place deep in the sun's core at a temperature of about 15 million degrees. As the heat travels out through the sun's layers, it becomes much cooler, but still very much hot enough to glow in visible light. Now, while 5,500 degrees seems cool compared to 15 million degrees, that's still hot enough to melt most metals. Just to give a comparison, a wood fire burns at about 500 degrees. 9. Pluto is the most distant and last object in the solar system. Pluto resides within a region of icy objects called the Kuiper Belt. The Kuiper Belt extends from Neptune's orbit outward. Beyond Pluto's orbit is another vast region of icy objects called the Oort cloud, which, like the Kuiper Belt, is a home to icy comets. There's even 4 dwarf planets that we know about that are further, and some even bigger than Pluto. There's Haumea, Makemake, Eris, and Sedna. Eris is currently about 3 times as far away from the Sun as Pluto, and Sedna, which has not yet technically been classified as a dwarf planet, although it pretty much is one, can be a massive 937 astronomical units away from the Sun. That, in other words, is 31 times Neptune's distance from the Sun. Some astronomers even believe it is the first known member of the inner Oort cloud. 8. Saturn is the only planet with rings. While many of us were taught in school that Saturn had amazing rings made up of small rocks, ice, and other particles, there are actually several other planets that also have rings around them. In fact, all of the larger planets in the solar system have been found to have rings. This is true of Jupiter, whose rings cannot be seen from our planet, as well as Neptune. Even Uranus has 9 bright rings around it, as well as a few fainter ones, but all of these are difficult to see due to the distance. 7. Comets come from regions outside the solar system. Comets are part of the solar system. Scientists believe they come from one of 2 locations within the solar system, the Kuiper Belts and the Oort cloud. The comets that we see often, every 100 years, come from the Kuiper Belt, and comets that we see rarely, every few thousand years, come from the Oort cloud. 6. Asteroids in the asteroid belt are very close to each other. Thanks to Star Wars and other Hollywood space movies, we have the impression that asteroids are always bashing into each other and spaceships would have a hard time navigating an asteroid field. Asteroids, though, are not close to each other. The asteroid material is so thinly distributed that numerous unmanned spacecraft have traveled it without incident. On average, they are roughly 1 million miles from each other, and the total mass of the asteroid belt is only just 4% of the mass of the Moon. 5. Mercury is tidally locked to the Sun like the Moon is to the Earth. For many years, it was thought that Mercury was synchronously tidally locked with the Sun, rotating once for each orbit and always keeping the same face directed towards the Sun, in the same way that the same side of the Moon always faces the Earth. Radar observations in 1965 proved that the planet has a 3-to-2 spin orbit resonance, rotating 3 times for every 2 revolutions around the Sun. The original reason astronomers thought it was tidally locked was that whenever Mercury was best placed for observation, it was always nearly at the same point in its 3-to-2 resonance, hence showing the same face. 4. Mercury is the hottest planet in the solar system. While it is sensible to think that Mercury is the hottest planet due to it being the closest planet to the Sun, it's just simply not true. It turns out that Venus is actually a hotter planet than Mercury, even though it is further away. The reason for this is that Mercury doesn't have an atmosphere because it's so close to the Sun, which means that there is nothing to hold the heat in. Venus, on the other hand, has a notoriously thick atmosphere that traps the heat created by the Sun. The max temperature you'll find on Mercury is 426 degrees Celsius, while the average temperature on Venus is 462 Celsius. 3. The Sun only accounts for a small part of what's in the solar system. I'm sure you guessed the Sun is big, but the Sun actually makes up over 99% of all of the mass in our entire solar system. Jupiter and some of the other large planets make up most of the rest, and Earth barely even registers in the equation. We can be glad the Sun is as large as it is, though, as it makes everything in the solar system work, giving us light, heat, and energy, while holding everything together in their orbits using its massive gravity. 2. Comets always have tails. Comets do not always have tails. They develop a fuzzy shell-like cloud called a coma, and 1, 2, or 3 tails when near the Sun. A comet tail and coma are illuminated and may become visible from Earth when a comet passes through the inner solar system. The dust reflecting sunlight directly, and the gas is glowing from ionization. Interestingly, while the solid nucleus of comets is generally less than 50 kilometers across, the coma may be larger than the Sun, and ion tails have been known to extend 3.8 astronomical units, 355 million miles. Also, the tail will always point away from the Sun. Comets have no coma or tail when far away from the Sun. 1. The solar system formed during the Big Bang, along with the rest of the universe. The solar system is a lot younger than the universe. According to scientific research, the current estimate of the age of the universe is 14 billion years. While it is believed that the solar system is only 4.5 billion years, the solar system is said to have formed from the gravitational collapse of a giant molecular cloud, most of which became our Sun, the rest forming everything else found in the solar system. What other misconceptions have you heard about our solar system? Post in the comments below. Be sure to check out my channel here, and if you like this video, to share and to subscribe to Astrum. Thanks for watching!